CES. It is going all digital. Man, I didn't believe this until I heard it from the Eli computer guy today. And honestly, I have very mixed feelings about this. Um at the same rate, I mean it makes sense to have it digital and because with this situation, but at the same time, I felt that the statistics on this pandemic is so skewed up. I don't think every conference and convention should be all digital. And I'm sure a lot of people will kind of attack me on this and say, "Oh, we're dealing with a pandemic." Oh, really? When this pandemic ever killed this many people? This is one of the lowest percentage cases, and the number on this the numbers on the deaths are very very low compared to the flu, and this is like the what 0.0002 percent if you don't count the error on this virus. But still, it's so fucking annoying to even um, have everything digital. I mean, here's one thing I will put it this way. Um, for me, part of me is that look, I've gone through and comic conventions and many other meetings and conventions and meetups and gatherings I love to do, right? But to me, here's one thing too. I don't think everything needs to be all digital, right? And to me, where I can see is that well, I think the best part in going through convention is having the human element and meeting the people face to face. While in the digital world, you really can't unless you were to see them in the cam. But it's not really the same. It really isn't. So, and for 2021 announcements, so just to bring up the keynotes here on CES 2021. So, just to give you the ups and the trends on what's the big announcement. So the big announcement so far is now AMD keynotes, which is with Dr. Lisa Su, President and CEO of AMD, which she has now become a big star in the tech world right now. General Motors keynote, which don't know too much about that, and then Verizon keynotes. And since when the last time I've been a pretty much a customer with Verizon, I would say the mid 2000s, and then I jumped off and switched to another service called T-Mobile because the price was suited for me and still suits for me today. So I'll put it this way, and I have to say, now with 2021, that's still a good start. AMD number one. We're going to talk about processors. Processors is going to be a big step, and plus, we're now coming around the corner near the releases. So if I go to and type on a search, let me just type it in, AMD, AMD, right? And then I hit on the news. And within the next few days, which I understand, they're going to be releasing. AMD reveals more Atheon RX 6000 series versus NVIDIA RTX 3000 benchmarks. So this is going to be news coming around the corner. Now, however, with General Motors and Verizon keynotes, I don't know too much what's going on, and I haven't cared too much on the mobile side nor the automobile side, which to me that's not like a very huge interest, but I think that's just going to be interesting. Which the keynote speaker, it's going to be featured with Mary Mbera, and then Verizon keynote. Now their speaker is going to be with Hans Vestberg. So don't know too much about the CEOs that's going to be up. That's going to be up for next year, and I'm sure that there's going to be more announcements coming along the way by next year. Who knows? We will see. And overall, I have to say, I'm sure that there's plenty of people that are happy being at home watching this. And tell you the truth, I've never been to Vegas, nor I've never gone to the CES conference in person. And the last I've heard and how you were supposed to get in was you supposed to purchase a pass in advance, or if you were part of the uh part of these industries, you would have to get in get in exclusively some way somehow. So that's how it all worked back then too. And I'm sure that nowadays anybody can get into a CES, but however, with this nonsense of a plague, which to me this virus hasn't killed a lot of people, I think they should have done it in person as well for people that are in the industry. But I have to say though, the people are going to start saying, "Oh, we're in the middle of a plague. What are you talking about?" Absolutely fucking nonsense. And believe me, if this was this bad, we would have had seen more deaths. And to me, this is pretty much not what we're seeing on the news. And plus, especially with one example, I would say, the Sweden case. In fact, there's a lot of people that have criticized Sweden on that why Sweden hasn't locked down their country, right? And people are like, "Oh my God, Sweden is screwed," and so hilarious enough that I actually know a friend that does that has been to Sweden before when he was younger, and he's been to Sweden recently since last year as well. And he was like, "Oh my God, Sweden, they're having a lot of COVID cases. Man, this is no good for Sweden." And I'm like, "What the hell you're talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?" I mean, honestly, yeah, and I'll be quite honest. Look, with all the things that's happening in the world, look, I'm sure the neighboring countries like Norway and Finland did close down the country, but not once Sweden closed down the country. For what, right? And that's what we've at least I'll have to say that at least they were very open enough right there too, and a lot of people haven't died. And I think this is where what I'm seeing, and I think everybody's seeing in the medical world, is and pretty much it's becoming a case demic, right? A very much a case demic, and it's right now it's pretty much skewed up and skewed up all over the place. I'll put it this way: it doesn't the whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense, and it sure doesn't. And to bring this up, and let me just go ahead and move this topic along the way that I know that my point, where we're going with CES, and I'm sure that the growing thing with CES would have to be digital health. That's going to be a huge seller. And now, yes, processors, automobiles, I'm sure they're selling, but not in a faster rate that we're seeing, right? Not at all. Now, if you want to talk about what's becoming very big right now, it is not the tech industry, but it's the medical industry that's becoming a huge revenue rate, has making big revenues right now too. And I'll tell you why. Because one of the things that a lot of people are not even talking about, especially when it comes to technology, and especially I think one of the scariest things that if you end up employing technology that will do harm than good, this is where it comes down to as well. Now, even though that's not coming up right there in the open, but you'll end up seeing that this is going to be a huge hurdle for people's privacy for the long run. And the main thing I'm going to end up bringing is the what you call it, the tracking chips, which the health, or they call it the health chips, which that's something that they've been talking about, and a lot of people aren't really talking about it, which I think it's a little sad, which is pretty much undercover. And and they're making this all in the name of safety. I don't understand what's going on with that too, and a lot of people are not doing aren't making these things for your safety, right? But they're just doing it to invase or to pretty much intrude your life. That's what it all comes down to too. Nothing for safety, has nothing to do with safety at all. Believe me. And if you do the research yourself, you'll find out what's behind the closed curtains of all this madness. And this is one thing it's going to be a real hurdle. Oh, and another thing I want to just bring up is cryptocurrencies. And so for somebody that's I myself has been paying attention with crypto technology, I'm actually a fan of crypto technology, no lie. And here on in the CES website, as I'm looking it up right now, I'm where cryptocurrency is becoming a big thing. The blockchain, what everybody's now referring to, which here it says, check out the latest in blockchain technology and how it is being incorporated into business solutions and ensure greater security from food safety and the supply chain to payment processing and data sharing. And so the feature article shows how blockchain helps to get us the vaccine. Oh boy. well, that's I think that's okay and all. Now, here's one thing I'll say about crypto technology, cryptocurrency is that it's always going to be in development, and I like the where this is going to go. I'm sure not